So hot and cold. Yes, happy days. So that now makes my life easier when it comes to doing up that back knot. If I can just get it tight to stop the tap from flopping about. Right, I want to see how many people took the bait and got triggered by the title, because clearly I'm not the first person to show this plumbing trick or tap change hack. It's been done multiple times before, but everyone seems to want to claim it as their own, so I thought, why not jump on the bandwagon and give it a go myself? But at the end of the day, if it's something that if it's the first time you've seen it in my video, then it's the first time you've seen it in my video. If you've seen it on someone else's video, fantastic. That is the whole point of these videos. It's to share tips and tricks and advice and knowledge and stuff like that. And it's a bit tongue-in-cheek saying, yeah, you saw it here first. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But if you haven't seen it before and this helps you out, then fantastic. If you've seen it somewhere else, even better. It just means that it's a hack or a tip or trick that's worth sharing because it continues to do the rounds. That was pretty much the point of the title and the little clickbaity video. It was just to see how many people took the bait. But look, I'm not going to keep this intro too long. I want you guys to just enjoy the video. It's late. What's the time? It's almost 10 o'clock, 20 to 10. I've just got home from picking Jessica up because she was at my in-laws. I'm flying out to Germany tomorrow. Well, today, by the time you guys are watching, I will be in Germany already. I'm out there with Testo. They're taking a few of us out there to see the HQ and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to Germany before, first time in Germany, so I'm looking forward to it. But you guys enjoy this video and I will catch you all on Sunday. Have a good one. Take care. How are we all doing? I'm back at a customer's house where I've been to before. You may remember I fitted them a range cooker just before Christmas. They've called me out today because their boiler's leaking. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was a Potterton Gold, and I think it's the one where you've got the condense trap on the right hand side, because he said it's leaking from the right hand side only when the boiler's running. So that's led me to believe that maybe the condense trap is cracked or something split. So let's go inside and have a look and see what it is and if we can get it fixed today. Right, so yeah, it's a Potterton Gold combi. Customer said they've not had to top up the pressure. It may be the condense because it's been dripping from down here. He sent me a video. So let's get the case off. Let's see what's going on inside there. And hopefully it's something that I can get sorted today. I have just noticed that this is the one that's like the Duotex. So the condense trap is on the left-hand side. So it won't be the condense. On this side, AAV maybe off the pump, but the pressure's not dropped. But if it's only dripping, maybe it's not been leaking enough for the pressure to drop. Let's have a look. Right, case off and bingo. AAV. It is the AAV that's leaking, so I'm going to see if I've got one on the van. Get that swapped out. And a few of the other connections look a little bit ropey. So I'm hoping that nothing else gets disturbed when I'm changing that AAV over. Yeah, that pumps looks like it's had a bit of a weep. Luckily, the condense hose here hasn't split, because normally that's quite a common issue. I've got one on the van, but we don't need to replace that just yet. Okay, everything else looks okay. Let's get this drained out. Let me make sure I've got AAV on the van, get it drained out, and then recharge the expansion vessel, get it swapped out, and we should all be good. van stock, but that is my last one, so I do need to get another one. Just recharged the vessel. There was hardly any water that came out of it, which is good to see. It was on about 0.37 bar, so I've just recharged it back up to just shy of 1 bar. Well, let's just get that back up to 1.1. So yes, it lowers the drop a little bit. So 1.05, we'll leave that on whilst I'm changing the AAV over. Now to do it, just literally get a set of grips on there, crack that open. Luckily we've got a sink here, so any residual water will get drained into there. Bit of silicone grease around the O-ring, wind it in, test it, and hopefully all good. I haven't bothered to put my chest mount on, which I probably could have done, but that's fine. It'll probably take me longer to put the chest mount on than to actually change the AAV. That is pretty stuck on there. Come on. There we go. And usually when I start undoing it, as it lets a bit of air in, we'll get a little bit more water coming out of there. Right, there's the old one. Looking fairly worse for wear. New one's in. So now I've shut the drain off. Let's open up the flying returns. Yes, we know that's in the wrong place. That's a good sound. AAV's hissing away. Let's top up some pressure. Get some pressure into the system and check that nothing else has got disturbed as well. Well, let's flip the heating on. Got a heating demand. So I always run the heating just to, yeah, look, that's hissing away like a little pressure cooker. Right, I'm just going to inspect everything, make sure we're good. As long as there's no leaks, we're out of here. Right, my next job is just a standard service on this Ecotech Plus. What is it? 824. So I've done a bit of work on this before. I've changed the flow isolation valve. I think the PRV on this as well. Have I written it? I haven't. Right, one of them clips have disappeared. I'm not changing the diverter valve on it. Visually not terrible, not the best. Oh, yeah, we know what that means, don't we? It's on a new turret seal. Okay, so I'll get the service done, do my sweep test on there to confirm whether it is picking up CO or not, and then if it is, I'll have to advise the customer accordingly and get that done as well. Also, that's the old pressure sensor, so when I drain it down, I'll have a look to see what our pressure reading is, and if it's wrong, then we'll also need to change the pressure sensor as well. So let's just get going. I did try to salvage this sensor, cleaned it out. You can see there's a lot of muck in it, but with the boiler drained out, I was still getting 0.3 bar pressure reading. So put a new pressure sensor in, and now we've got 0.0 and F22, which is exactly what we want to see. Told the customer about the turret seal. I'm not even going to bother testing. I am going to change it because I've worked on this boiler last few years and I've not had to change it, but it's clearly leaking. No one else would have changed it in the meantime. So I'm going to get that done as well once I've finished off doing the standard service. So I've just drained it out, recharged the expansion vessel. Let's put the cap back on there. So I'm going to fill it back up again now, put it through its purge program. I'm going to try to clean the condensate trap out because it is tucked away in there. If I can get to it, great. If not, then there's not much I can do about that. And then I'll get cracking with the turret seal. Right, so the boiler's still purging, and in that time I've managed to change the seals over, and you can see this one is completely perished. I mean, look at that. I think that's probably one of the worst that I've come across. Let's change the flue seal over, let it finish purging, and then start doing my 26/9s. I did manage to get it out. It was tight though. Don't think that's ever been cleaned out either. Right, let's wash that out, pop that back together as well. Now O-ring looks a bit ropey. Hopefully I can get that to go back in. Okay, luckily I had an O-ring in my O-ring box, and I've got this O-ring box from either Aldi or Lidl years ago. It's just got metric and imperial sizes, and it's just one of the things I keep in the van, and it gets me out of trouble on certain situations like this. So that is a little bit prouder than the original one, but it's the closest I had. So I'm going to grease it up and hopefully it will slide up into the trap. So I've done the sweep test around there, that's all sweet. And I'm just doing my maximum rate. Gas valve needs tweaking a bit. So on these older style vaillants, and I think actually on all vaillants, there's no minimum adjustment point, it's only the maximum adjustment point. So it's a 4mm Allen key that goes in there. I'm just going to try and bring that down to 9%, and then we'll check the minimum. And once that's down to 9%, then I can go down and gas rate it so that I know that it's using the correct amount of gas. And then as long as that's all good, minimum's all good, we should be wrapping up and being out of here very soon. Obviously you can see the tap's off, but it's running. This job is to replace the tap. So customers got this tap already. We're going to have a look underneath here, and it might be easier for me to maybe pull the washing machine out to get to the tap connections, because where the tap is, it's right in the middle there. So I think I might end up pulling the washing machine out just to give me more access to the tap. I think it'll make my life a lot easier rather than trying to struggle underneath here. Hopefully there's isolation valves. I can't see at the moment, but hopefully once I pull the washing machine out, I should be able to get isolation valves. It's on a combi anyway, so worst case, I'll just shut the water off in the road and that will kill everything whilst I get this done. So let's get the access made first. Okay, so I've just literally taken the back panel off. I have turned the water off stopcock in the cupboard under the stairs, but now that I've taken the back panel off, I can see that there's 2 isolation valves here, which is good, but it's not going to make any difference now that the water's off. And I reckon I might be able to get to the tap from inside here as well, especially now that I've got a bit more space here. I'm probably gonna I reckon, yeah, I can get underneath here and do that, so I don't have to cut anything out, because I did pull the washing machine out and I was thinking initially maybe cut a little section at the back there, but I don't think I need to now. I think I've got enough access to do it from down here. Right, flexes are all disconnected. Now I'm just trying to get the actual tap off, but the stub that's there, it's quite a long thread, and even these is too short to go through it. But luckily with the Knipex twin grips, what I've been able to manage to do is get that on that thread, because I even tried to put a Phillips in there and it was too tight, but that, yeah, I've got that turning now, so I can get that loosened off, pull the old tap out and then get the new one in. Right, old tap is out, just giving that little clean up. New one's here, and with these, this is quite handy. So it comes with the, well, it's a wrench, I think, to do the nuts up and also to do the back nut up as well. So that's quite handy. I think that's the first time I've come across that in a tap box, which is good. So I'm going to try to see if I can get the whole thing in from here rather than having to feed it up from the bottom, but we'll see. So hot and cold. Yes, happy days. So that now makes my life easier when it comes to doing up that back nut. If I can just get it hand tight to stop the tap from flopping about. Yep, cool. So that saves me from having to try and get the back nut up from the bottom afterwards, because that can go in from the top. I found it only works on stainless steel sinks. It doesn't work on if you've got a granite or ceramic sink, because you need a little bit of flex in the steel to be able to get the horseshoe in. So now that I've got that in, now I'll tighten it up from the bottom, connect up the flexies, turn the water on, and hopefully we should all be good. Tell you what, this is very handy because it's allowed me to basically get onto that back nut from here. Because it's hollow, it goes all the way onto it, and then obviously this part here allows me to get onto the nuts and just give them a little nip up. Fits on there perfectly. Handy little tool that comes in the box. I think more tap manufacturers should start doing something like this. It just makes it a lot more easier for us. Right, water's back on. Let's make sure all good. No leaks there. Nope, that's all good. Let's try the hot. Yep, hot is all good. Happy days. Job done. So this next one I'm here at now, I didn't know what boiler it was, and there's a problem with the hot water. Customer saying that it's not quite right. So I'm not sure if it's the plate or the diverter valve, and I've walked into a vaillant. Yay! So I'm gonna do a few checks on it. I'm gonna show you guys how I do some tests to determine whether it's the plate or the diverter valve by using the D codes. So we're gonna look at D3. I actually just looked up on my phone. I believe D3 is hot water flow temperature reading. So I'm gonna monitor that and see when I run a tap what's going on with that. And I'm also gonna check D40, which is our flow temperature. If that flow temperature starts rising when I'm running a hot tap, that tells me that the diverter valve is passing. If that flow temperature stays stable and the boiler starts overheating, then it indicates it's not going to be a block plate. It's probably more likely going to be the canoe filter. First things first, let's pop it on and let's run some tests. So let's get into installer level. Okay. Diagnostic menu, outlet temperature value. So right now that's reading 16 degrees, and if we go to D40, flow temperature actual value 22 degrees, 21 degrees. So we had, what do we have? So flow temperature was 20 degrees, let's say, and D3 16 degrees. So we've got 16 and 20. So we want to see what's going on with the D40, which is our flow temperature. If that starts rising when I run a hot tap, then that's going to tell me that the diverter valve is faulty. If that starts getting too high, shooting up, and then the boiler cuts out, then it's probably going to be a problem with the plate or the canoe filter. So let's do some tests. Okay, so 16 degrees, let's run a hot tap. That temperature is going to drop initially because it's obviously got cold water going through it. So that's dropped down to 13. Now that the boiler's fired up, that's getting up 20 degrees, 24, 28. Right, whilst it's doing that, let's check what D40 is showing, because it showed that's jumped up to 46 from 20 degrees, 50 degrees, 52 degrees. But I've got nothing passing down here. Okay, so that's just the flow temperature on the actual NTCs, on the flow and returns inside. Now let's come out of this. Let's see what's happening there. So that's getting to 65. That's still running. So it doesn't seem to be overheating. We go back into the diagnostics menu. And let's check D3. So we've got an outlet value of 51 degrees. So we should be having 51 degrees coming out of there. And I've still got no heat coming down the flow. So that to me, who's calling me? Oh, it's my neighbor. I'll call him back after. That's holding steady at 52, 53 degrees, which to me doesn't really indicate a problem. So I'm gonna do a few more checks. Let's check what the liters per minute is actually. What was the, I forgot what the D code is for the liters per minute. I think it's 9 liters a minute, D36. So it's not even that high of a flow rate that the boiler can't keep up with it. It might just be, maybe I just need to increase the hot water outlet temperature from the boiler itself. I'll do a few more checks and see what's going on, but I can't see any major issues with it at the moment. Right, conclusion is, there's nothing wrong with the boiler. I think it might just be the taps, because that one's fine. I even shut off the cold main to the boiler to make sure there wasn't a passing mix and the hot water does turn off. We had about 9 point something liters coming out of these taps. We had about 11.2 coming out of these taps, which still isn't, it's not, I mean, it's not really high flow rate, but it's enough for an 831. So I don't, it might just be the taps, I reckon. But yeah, boiler's all good. So although that one was a bit of an anticlimax, at least we got to play around with the D codes and learned a little bit about how to monitor a vaillant boiler by using Vaillant's own menu system, which I think is great on the Ecotech Plus. Now I've got to go do a boiler service, a standard boiler service on a Worcester Green Star. I've done a full service on it 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just been an annual service. So I'm not going to record it because it's an annual service, it's standard bread and butter stuff. Unless there's a problem with it and I need to do a repair, then I'll record it. If not, I'm going to end this video here. If you've enjoyed it, please like it. If you haven't enjoyed it, still please like it. And don't forget to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out. It just makes me feel good. And drop a comment. So if you find this video interesting, useful, or you want to criticize or anything, I'm happy to get comments from everyone. And I'll see you guys all soon.